Maybe you don't hate yourself. Maybe you hate that you don't love yourself. Maybe you hate that you haven't been there for yourself. Maybe you are stuck in patterns and habits that are not serving you, and therefore you think that you hate yourself. When you do things that aren't aligned with you, when you do things that don't make you feel good, that don't make you feel happy, when you are, because sometimes it's normal, we're human, sometimes we leave old habits and then we kind of get back into them again, but when we get back into them again, they don't work the same as they used to do. So all that you have is the connection to it, all that you have is the familiarity. Yeah, you just feel like it's familiar, but it's not really who you are anymore, but you're still doing it because it used to be you at one point, and maybe you feel like that's the only version of you that you know. But that's not true, because you have a whole new version of you literally living and looking into the mirror right now. So what you need to do is connect back with that self that you are right now, and not like, okay, my higher self, my best self. Because sometimes I think personally that we try so much to become this best version of ourselves, this higher version of ourselves, that we never accept who we are. And so you're never going to achieve being that best version or higher self, because you don't accept who you are right now. So how would you accept yourself when you are your best self? You wouldn't even know that you are being your best self, because maybe that's who you are right now. I mean, look at how far you have come, and how many times you have celebrated yourself along the way. Right? Maybe once, maybe twice, or zero. Celebrate yourself today. Why? Because you are who you are, and because you've come so far. Even if you can't put like exact timing on when you did that and when you succeeded and when you hit that goal, whatever it may be, if you didn't even hit that goal at all, but you still tried, and that's enough. Celebrate yourself for trying every single day. That's what I wanted to speak about. Because hating yourself is like, it's an odd feeling. It's a really odd feeling, because I mean, I know what it's like, but at the end of the day, I personally believe that when it comes to hating yourself, it's because you grew up around people who didn't love themselves and who never showed you healthy love. Like if you had parents who were distant, emotionally distant, never praised you, or even if they did, it was like, yeah, when you got like the best grade, and when you got an acceptable grade, they were like, okay, try better next time, you know. Or maybe you were around friends who didn't have a healthy friendship, so you had toxic friendships, or friendships who never really cared about you. They just made you feel like you were left out, or the only reason why you were with those friends is because you didn't want to be alone. So they weren't really your friends, they were just people you hang out with, and chose to walk along with, because sometimes we rather walk with people who aren't as good as we think that they are, than being alone. Because when you're alone, you have to like really embrace the road and embrace who you are. So it's easier to kind of forget about that when you are with other people, because they distract you, even if it's hurtful or painful. At least it's something. But here's the thing, that's not gonna work. Okay, you cannot walk the road with people who are negative, who are toxic, who don't support you, who don't truly see you and hear you and understand you for who you are. Yes, I know it's lonely to not have friends, but if you have quote unquote friends who don't even understand you, who never check up on you, who are never there for you, and yes, people can go through their own things, that's completely understandable. We're talking like never. Like we're talking like never there for you, never really care. And even if you open up a little bit, they're like, oh, like, I'm sure it's gonna get better. Now, don't expect your friends to be therapists, because they're not professional, because they haven't, you know what I'm saying, but like you can still expect them to be human. So if they haven't been human to you, girl, drop them. Okay, leave them. Just say, you know what, I'm going to focus on myself. And yeah, sometimes when you focus on yourself, it does get lonely, but you'll find that your first friend is yourself, and you'll become friends with yourself. Number one, look at the wound. I don't know if I said this before, but sometimes people go through, really hard things. And I'm not saying that you have to relive those traumas by, going really deep into what happened in the past. You don't have to do that. Sometimes people go through very painful things and they don't have to relive them. So that's not what I'm saying. But if you can look at it, just look at yourself and look at the people around you and look what happened. Did you get comforted during those moments? Were people there for you when you were little? When you were feeling insecure, did someone cheer you on? Or did you just grow up around people who said, just tough it out, like you'll be fine? You know what I'm saying? And understand your friends and your parents' role around you. Like I said, if they were hating on themselves, no wonder you start to hate on yourself too, because that's what you think love is. But love is not looking at yourself in the mirror and be like, oh, I should lose a few pounds. No. Looking at yourself in the mirror and being like, oh, I should have done this better. Or, getting a good grade and then being like, no, like I could have done, I should have. stop putting so much pressure on yourself. That's number one. Looking at the wound, understanding what was happening around you, because then you'll see that the so-called hate that you have is actually other people's opinions and beliefs that they have projected onto you, that you camouflaged as your own beliefs. So you're like, yeah, these are my beliefs. This is what I think. No, it's not. It's what they think. But you've been around them so much because, as a child, our subconscious mind is open until we're like 7 years old. So we think that's us. We think, yes, that those are our beliefs. That's what I think. That's what I am. That's what I do. No, it's not. Sometimes I wonder if maybe 70% of what we think we should do in life is actually what other people have taught us that we should do. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I don't know if we really check up with ourselves and really ask, like, what do I want to do? And maybe that's the reason why so many people, especially like young people, feel so lost these days, because they don't know what to do. Like, they don't know what job to have. They don't know if they want to work. They don't know if they want to study, or maybe they feel like they want to study, but they don't have the resources. And so, a lot of people just feel lost. And I think maybe that's because, well, the world is different today, obviously, but also maybe it is because we don't really check in with ourselves, because we were never taught to check in with ourselves. As we grew up, we were just taught to follow the crowd. And when you follow the crowd that goes nowhere, you end up nowhere and you end up lost. But what you are and who you want to be is not determined by somebody else, it's determined by you. And so that lost feeling will lead to freedom. That's what I wanted to quickly talk about. But anyways, the next step then, after you've, understood a little bit, maybe allow yourself to feel your allow yourself to feel your feelings, sit there with yourself. I'd recommend doing some yoga stretching. There are these, like, is it called somatic work? Yeah, it's really, really healing, because our body remembers our pain and our trauma. So when you do these healing, like, yoga poses, like, I swear you will unlock something. Like, if you don't start bawling or crying, like, people even laugh, they get, like, you know what I'm saying, because you release a lot of pent up emotions and feelings that you thought weren't supposed to be there anymore, things that you thought you were over, and all of a sudden you're crying about something that happened 5-6 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So that would be my second advice. Third step is to check in with yourself day to day. Ask yourself, how am I doing? Am I okay? When you're going on a walk, when you are in school, at work, whatever, like, check in with your body. How are my legs feeling? How are my arms feeling? How's my back feeling? Am I holding tension? Because sometimes we tend to tense up. So maybe you're sitting like this without even understanding that you are. So sit back, relax those shoulders, stop clenching your jaw so much, stop, having your face be like this all the time. So just try to calm down the face. That would be my advice. Fourth thing is obviously telling yourself that you love yourself, working on, there's a lot of, like, positive affirmation tapes if you don't, like, really know what to tell yourself. But just being very accepting and kind to yourself. So saying things such as, oh, I accept myself, I'm worthy, I'm deserving, I'm enough, those kind of things. There's a lot of, maybe I can link some in the description if I find them, but there are really, like, good affirmations for you to say to yourself, or even listen to, but also repeat them. Like, look in the mirror and say it. I know sometimes it's uncomfortable in the beginning when you start saying nice things to yourself, because you are not used to that, but guess what? You deserve to live a good life. You deserve to be happy, and you deserve to hear good things, so say that to yourself. Well, yes. Now we can talk about the face mask. Now we can talk about that, because taking care of your physical vessel obviously is also really, really beautiful and good for you, because when you take care of the body that you live in, you feel happier. It's like when you live in a house, and, like, if you clean your room, whatever, like, you feel fresher, right? So imagine if you, like, took a shower or washed your face, or wore your favorite clothing, then you'd feel better too, right? Because that is your home, and this is your first home. So even if you live with other people and they don't necessarily clean up after themselves, if you clean this vessel of yours, you have done more than enough. And this is what you're going to do for yourself anytime you do something. I think Cynthia, I forgot her last name, but Cynthia, the actor who was in Wicked, she was like, before you do something, ask yourself, am I loving myself? And I just thought that was such a good advice, because if you actually ask yourself, like, am I loving myself, before you do something, before you go somewhere, it actually makes you, like, kind of check up on, wait, do I actually want to do this? Will this make me happy? And then you do it, or you don't, and also sometimes trying new things, because even if it's uncomfortable to try new things, it's okay to let yourself know and let your body know that you're safe, that you're allowed to try new things and go to new places, like, You're safe, like you're good. Sometimes with anxiety, it's like, no, I can't. But it's like, yes, I can. I take it one day at a time, one breath at a time. I'm good. I can go. So that was my advice, and I hope that you guys, woo, a bee. I hope that you guys are doing really good. These bees are crazy. I hope that you guys are doing really good. And last advice is go out to nature, connect with nature, because trust me, that is like so healing. That it's so healing to be in nature and actually to be there and not like listen to music and kind of just take a few breaths and just observe and be here and be present. So that's all that I have to say. Live a good life. Bye bye.